Hey guys, it's Toby and we're going to be building a gaming PC for £500. Let's go! Alright, first off we're going to be using the AMD Ryzen 3 2200G. The 2200G is a quad-core processor clocked at 3.5 GHz and it is one of the entry-level processors in AMD's current range. This means that you're going to be getting a lot of value for your money here. The quad-core processor can be overclocked to 3.7 GHz and beyond, and in addition to this it's going to be able to handle a lot of the CPU intensive games you throw at it, such as City Skylines, GTA 5 and anything else along those lines as well, and it will also be able to handle any CPU intensive task you throw at it. So overall at this price point it is pretty much a no-brainer, and you also get an included CPU cooler with it. Alright, now moving on to the motherboard, we're going to be using a Gigabyte B450M DS3H. The DS3H is a micro ATX motherboard, which means it is slightly smaller than the standard size ATX motherboards. However, this doesn't mean it's limited in any way. It's got all the support you'll expect, such as Gigabit Ethernet, support for USB 3.1, surround sound HD audio, support for RGB lighting, and it also has support for M.2 drives, in addition to having 4 SATA 3 ports for all your hard drives, SSDs, and even a DVD drive if you really want to. This motherboard is therefore great value for money, as it can also support the overclocking of the Ryzen 3 2200G up to 3.7 GHz and even beyond if you choose to. This motherboard also has support for up to 4 slots of DDR4 RAM, and coming onto the RAM we're going to be using 8GB of Corsair Vengeance. Quite simply, this is just one stick of 8GB RAM clocked at 3000 MHz, and it is going to go straight into our build. Because of the way Ryzen processors function, having RAM clocked at 3000 MHz does actually make a difference over RAM clocked at 2400 MHz. You're going to get about 5 or so FPS more performance across most games that you play, and in addition to this it is also just one stick of 8, so you have the option to upgrade in the future by buying an additional one. Now coming on to the main part of the build, our graphics card, we're going to be using a Gigabyte GTX 1660. The 1660 is in a very unique mid-range position, as it is sandwiched right between the top-end RTX cards and the previous generation 10 series cards. This puts it at a very good price point, which again is going to give us good value for our money, which is what we're looking for in this build, and it's capable of playing pretty much any game you throw at it. Games such as Fortnite, PUBG, Minecraft, Overwatch, CSGO, Apex Legends, Dota 2, Rainbow Six, pretty much any game you throw at it, this card is very capable of handling it at high settings, ultra settings, or maybe even completely maxed out. You can easily expect up to 60 FPS and beyond in those previously mentioned titles, or you can even just turn the graphics settings down in certain games like first person shooters and battle royales to get even better performance. In addition to this, with the 1660 you can also expect good performance in titles yet to be released, such as Borderlands 3 and the new Wolfenstein game. Those are going to be very capable of being played at good settings, at a good frame rate with this graphics card. An alternative option, which is also slightly cheaper, is the AMD RX 590. The RX 590 and the GTX 1660 are about on par with each other depending on what game you're playing, give or take a few frames. They are also on par with each other when it comes to outputs, as they both have support for DisplayPort and HDMI, and the 590 also has support for DVI. However, there are some differences to be noted, given the fact that the 590 has 8GB of GDDR5 memory compared to the 6GB of the 1660, and also it is slightly cheaper, however it does drain a bit more power. If you have any questions regarding the graphics cards, their capabilities in certain games, or anything else along those lines, feel free to ask in the comments. But overall you're going to be good with the GTX 1660 or the RX 590 if you want to save a bit of money. Now coming on to our storage options, we're going to be using a Crucial BX500 SSD. This is a 120GB variant, which is going to be enough for our operating system and a few programs that we use on a regular basis. Having an SSD is crucial, as it saves so much time. It is a great quality of life improvement, as everything loads faster, especially when you boot up and when you shut down your PC. Our extra storage option is a 1TB Western Digital Blue. This is the standard hard drive I recommend in most builds, as you can't really go wrong with it. It's 1TB, it's going to be enough for your games, your music, your movies, your pictures, anything else you want to put in it, all your documents, and if you ever need more storage you can always get the 2TB variant, the 3TB variant, and so on and so forth. Coming onto the power supply, we're going to be using an EVGA 500W1. The 500W1 is an 80 plus white certified power supply, which means you're going to get clean and efficient power. Also, it's made by EVGA, so you've got 3 years warranty and good customer support. They are a very reputable power supply brand and you can't really go wrong with them in this build. They offer great value power supplies and the 500W1 is no exception. And finally, coming onto the case, we're going to be using a Cooler Master MASTERBOX LITE 3.1. The LITE 3.1 is a very capable case as it is micro ATX, so it's going to fit our motherboard perfectly. It's also got good airflow with an exhaust fan included on the back. And in addition to this, it has everything else you'll expect, such as support for USB 3.1 on the front panel, additional support for your audio on the front panel, and it also has an acrylic side panel, which is very nice to have considering the RGB elements on the motherboard. Now, cases are kind of subjective, so I'm going to include some alternative options in the build guide below. And yeah, that's it guys, thanks for watching. Leave us a like if you like this video, leave us some feedback down below in the comments. If you're considering building this PC or buying any of the components, please use our links as it does help us a lot and it does help the channel grow. In addition, check out all of our other social links below, especially our Twitch and our Discord, and don't forget to subscribe and we'll catch you next time.